In this video, I would like to use my Turk's Head workbook and show you how to tie a pineapple knot. And we will use a 7-part 6-bight Casa knot as our primary knot. And in the book, there's a drawing of how you do it. And then there is the run list for tying the 7/6, and then there's the run list for tying a 12 total part, 12 total bight, 2-pass type S1, and the S is for standard because this is a standard pineapple knot. And what the standard means is the knot is tied with interwoven Casa knots. And it's got FRP, which is follow right of the primary knot, and then X equals 10, which is the parts between the inside bights. And it is tied from a primary knot of a 7-part 6-bight Casa knot, and the second knot, which this run list is for, is a 5-part 6-bight Casa knot that's tied from bight boundary 2 on the left and 2 on the right. And you will see that more as we tie the knot. And in the book, there is a drawing showing how to tie this 12-part, 12-bight, 2-pass, type 1 standard pineapple knot. But we'll use the run list, and to do that, I got this Hebert Perfect Mandrel from Jig Pro Shop, and I've got the pins on it, and I got my pins numbered. And the numbering of the pins, I want to show that here is a grid diagram of the knot, and you'll see that the pins are numbered 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 going away from you. And on this side there also, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, if you do the formula of parts divided by bights, you get 7 divided by 6 equals 1 with a remainder of 1. If that is a 1, it is a knot that is tied with enlargement process number 1. And if this is either a 1 or 1 less than the number of parts or the bights, then it is easy to tie, and they're one right after another in a row. They don't skip around. And that's the ones that you tie with enlargement process number 1 or number 2. And so this is in this order. And if you'll notice, if you've got a grid diagram, you can see that bight number 2 is halfway between bight 7 and 9. But where I drew these lines, what I do is I go past 1 and I just follow that line around till I hit number 2. And then when I go to number 3, which is right there, I just line it up so that my string is parallel with the line. But you will see that it lined it up between 7 and 9. But let's get tying the knot. Okay. Line 1 was a free run, so we followed this up and went around number 2. Now I go from 2, line number 2 says over 1. So I go over 1 to number 3. Now I go follow line number 3, over 1 to pin number 4. Line 4 is under over. So I go over here and I go under over to pin number 5. Line number 5 is under over. So we go from pin 5, under and over to pin number 6. Line number 6 is over, under, over. So I go over here and I go over, under, over to pin number 7. From 7, line 7 is over, under, over. So we go over, under, over to pin number 8. Line number 8 is under, over, under, over. Under, over, under, over. To pin number 9. Line number 9 is under, over, under, over. Under, over, under, over to pin number 10. Okay. Number 10 is over, under, over, under, over. So we're going around 10. We go over, under, over, under, over to pin number 11. We go around 11. We go to line 11. Over, under, over, under, over. Over, under, over, under, over to pin number 12. Line 12, under, over, under, over, under, over. Under, over, under, over, under, and over. And that brings us back to number 1, which is the standing end of our knot. Now, we're going to tie our second knot, which is a 5-part 6-bight Casa knot. And we're going to do it from bight boundary. This is bight boundary 1. This is bight boundary 2. They go from outside to in. On this side, it's from outside to inside. Number 1, number 2. Now, because we are tying a 5-part, trying to turn this so it didn't have the glare, a 5-part 6-bight, if you've got 5 divided by 6, 6 will go in 0 times, so you've got a remainder of 5. And where this number is 1 less than the number of bights, this knot is tied with an enlargement process number 2. And with an enlargement process number 2, the bights go in the other direction. So it's 1, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3. So, because of that, we will tape over these. Probably ought to tore them off since we can see them. Okay. My tape's not cooperating here. Okay. So, number 1 is still going to be the same, but we're going to have 11. This is going to be a 9. 7's going to be in the same place. This is a 5, and this is 3. Over here, this is going to be the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and this is going to be 12. And the only reason I'm doing that is it'll make it easier to follow our half cycle numbers. Okay, I'm going to put this underneath here so that it goes right here at 1. Now, if I wasn't using this mandrel with the pins, I would have just turned and come back in alongside the standing end to create that bite. But with the pins, it's easier to not have that. Now, also the other day, I had somebody ask the question, what is a Casa knot? Where does the term Casa come from? When I learned to tie knots, when they were tying a pineapple knot, they only said what the primary knot was. So this is a 7/6. They'd say it's a 7/6 with an over 2 under 2 pineapple. And the same thing when you're doing a type 1 or a type 2. This primary knot is the largest of the interweave knots. And they called it the house knot. And the reason being is this structure, if you think about when they're building a house and the framers have just got done putting up the 2x4 walls, this is the house. This is the framework that we tie our interwoven knots into. This is our house knot. And house and casa are the same, mean the same thing. But this is our framework that we're going to interweave. And that's where our casa knot kind of come from. Now, I'm going to introduce our interweave string. And in our formula, it says follow the right of the primary knot. So I put it in on the right hand side of the standing end of our primary knot. And this says under 2. Over, under, over, under. Now the reason for the under 2, now if you're calculating out an algorithm diagram, it would just be 1 because right here is bight boundary number 2. That's where the bight boundary starts. But in our tying of the knot, we've got to go under 2 to get into our primary knot. So we're going to go under 2 to get into the knot. So I'm going to set that about right there so we can see. And we're going to go under 2. And we're following the right-hand side of our primary knot. And here is our bight boundary number 2. But see, we went under 2 to get to that bight boundary. It shouldn't be, I hope we're not confusing anybody, but it shouldn't be confusing that we're doing an under 2 to get into our knot. Now we're just following this to do the over, under, over, under. Over, under, over, under. And we come to our bight number 2. Now we're at bight number 2, so we're at line number 2. Under, over, under, over, under. And we turn and we go in under, and now you can see that we're following the strand on our right. So basically we don't need the run list, we can just follow the knot. But we're going under, it says under, over, under, over, under. So we follow this strand, under, over, under, over, under, and we come to bight number 3. And we just followed the strand on the right. Now, line number 3 is under, over, under, over, under. We come in under, we're following this strand on our left, which is the primary knot. Under, over, under, and we come to pin number 4. Now, line number 4 is under 2, over, under, under. And the reason it is under 2 is, see how this blue one and the red one are making a pair? We need to split that pair. So really, all we need to look for is our pairs in tying this knot. So we go under 2 and split the pair. Now we're following the strand to our right, so it's over, under, and around pin number 5. Do a little straightening. Now we're on line number 5, and it is under 2, over, under. See our pair? These two's our pair. So we go under 2, split the pair, over, under, under. And we're around pin number 6. A little twisting. Okay, line number 6 is under 2, over 2, under, over, under. So we come under 2, split that pair, over 2, see our pair? Split the pair, under, over, under, around pin number 7. Okay. Line number 7 is under 2, over 2, under, over, under. Under 2, split the pair. Over 2, split the pair. Under, over, under, and around pin number 8. Okay. Now, line 8 is under 2, over 2, under 2, over, under. Under 2, over 2, under 2, over, under, and around that sloppy looking number 9. Okay, line number 9 is under, over, under, or under 2, over 2, under 2, over, under. Under 2, split a pair. Over 2, split a pair. Under 2, split a pair. And over, under. Around pin number 10. Line 10, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. Under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1, and around pin number 11. Okay, line number 11 is under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. Under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1, and around pin number 12. Okay, line 12 is under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. So we go under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, and that brings us to our standing end of our blue string. So we just go under and we're there. And now I'm going to go clear under all 3 and out of the knot. just to finish the knot in the same way we did there. But see that cross? That is on our Bight boundary 2, and that finishes our 12 total part, 12 total Bight, 2 pass, type 1 standard pineapple knot. And I hope you will try tying this, and you don't need the pins, but I wanted to use the pins so I could show you the numbering of the pins, and to hold this out so I could show you the house knot, which is the primary knot, which is the bigger of the 2 interwoven knots. Thank you for watching.